Hey, welcome to a new edition of the Reigns on the Cardinals podcast. Rob Reigns, Mike Reigns, right here next to me, not on the Zoom. We made it back from Springfield in time to stop by and record this podcast. We'll be previewing the Cardinal Yankee series down at Busch Stadium. And Mike, I know it's hot outside. Going to be an interesting weekend of baseball.
There are lots of things happening, lots of things to talk about, but it's always exciting when the Yankees are in town.
Are you in favor of the balanced schedule? Do we get to see the team like the Yankees every other year?
Yes and no, right? There's the benefit of, yes, I like seeing the teams that we don't normally get to see. And so that's the Aaron Judge of the world and the Shohei Ohtanis that when he was with the Angels and, those different scenarios. But I also miss when the National League Central games meant more. I understand that some people don't want to play 12 games against the Pirates right now, but hey, maybe that would help us. I don't know. But, it just the Cubs games meant more. Now we don't see them that much.
The interesting thing to me about this weekend is which Cardinal club is going to show up. The one that won 2 out of 3 games against the Dodgers in L.A., won 2 out of 3 games against the Cubs at Busch last weekend, or lost 2 of 3 games, including getting shut out by the Rockies.
The frustrating part of this team, I think the key word is consistency. It's just not there. It's consistency and lack of the starting pitching. Some days you go through that are great. This last time through the rotation, with the exception of Andre Palante, was pretty good for everybody. But offensively, they couldn't find a way to hit.
Yeah, and that's going to be key against this ball club. We don't know if Paul Goldschmidt is obviously making his return to Busch Stadium from the Yankees, but he's got his dealing with a sore right knee, a sprained right knee, so questionable at this point whether he will be in the lineup at least on Friday night or not. Hopefully, he'll play at least at some point during the weekend. Give fans a chance to recognize him for everything he did as a Cardinal.
They have not put him on the IL because he did ask, and talk to Boone and those guys and said he wants to try to play here because he wants, this city means a lot to him. He still lives here, still makes it his home. Kids still go to school here. So it means a lot to him. It would be cool to see him back.
Andre Palante, the starter in the opener on Friday night. Here's the basic statistic. The Cardinals have won once in Palante's last 8 starts. His ERA in that stretch, 5.88. It's an important start for Andre Palante.
And he could not get out of the second inning in his last start. And the biggest problem there was everybody says, and we've heard Ollie say it all the time, he's a ground ball specialist. Well, when he's not getting the ball down, how many home runs did he give up, right? He was, I believe it was Palante that was able to allow a player with the name Bush to hit a home run in Busch Stadium for the first time. Yeah. I know it happened during that series. I don't recall if it was Palante or not, but it might have been. But the key, especially tonight against the Yankees, is he needs to keep the ball low and get ground balls. If that ball's elevated, it's going to be a very quick hook.
Reigns of the Cardinals podcast brought to you, of course, by our great friends at the Drury Hotels. We were just at the Drury Hotel down in Springfield. We were down there watching the AA Cardinals play for a few days, and all the renovations are done, so I encourage people to get down there. Playoffs coming up. That club is going to be in the playoffs in September, so it might be a good time to head down to Springfield if you haven't been down there lately.
There are a lot of good players. The teams are playing really well. 30 games or whatever it is, over 500. They're looking really good, really strong.
Rest of the rotation for the 3 games against the Yankees, Sonny Gray pitches on Saturday night, Miles Michaelis on Sunday. I'm not sure I like either one of those matchups either.
Well, the first off, let's start with Michaelis. And the question becomes which Michaelis shows up. We've seen him go out and throw 6 shutout innings. His last start was actually pretty good.
At least he's better at home. I will say that.
He's better at home. But then you've seen him go out and give up 8 and just get tossed left and right. So I think he knows, too, he has to finish strong because I think he really wants to pitch again next year. And I think he would prefer to do it here. I don't think he wants to go anywhere else. But he's not going to get that opportunity here if he can't figure it out with a strong finish here. And then it comes to Sonny Gray. And the question we've all talked about is he really struggles when it's hot. And it's going to be hot.
And humid.
And humid.
Yes. Even if it's a night game. It is a Saturday night game, but it's still humid. Well, the thing, people who read our newsletter, and if you don't get the STL Sports Page newsletter, I encourage you to sign up for it. It usually comes out once a week, about the same day that we tape the podcast. And one of those features is we have a little section in there with your contributing things. It's either Mike's likes or more for Mike. Well, lately it's been more for Mike.
Lately it's been more for Mike.
Stuff to like.
There's been a few things, and I tried to highlight them. And it was Sonny Gray's last start. He went 7 innings, and the other highlight is Michael McGreevy, because yes, he's giving up a few runs, but that's okay because we want to see what he can work with. And I think the key that we've seen him do is he doesn't walk anybody. Mm-hmm. And that proves to be successful more often than not.
It does, yeah. You don't. I think what the Rockies put. I think in the game on Wednesday when the Cardinals blew the 5-2 lead. I think it was 7 of the 9 innings. The Rockies put the leadoff hitter on base, and some of those times it was by walk. I know the walk is preceded the home run by Goodman in the 9th that won the ball game.
Walks always kill you. We've said it all the time. We will continue to say it. You can't walk people.
So that leads us to our next question about this club. Romero as the closer. What do you think?
I think we all knew going into the post-trade deadline we were going to have some question marks in the back of that bullpen. And JoJo has certainly been one of them. I'm kind of shocked that they weren't able to trade him at the trade deadline based on what we were getting.
I'm not sure how hard they tried.
But to be fair, I watched the Rangers game the other day, and I watched Maton with a 1-run lead give up a 2-run homer. They lost. Then I watched Helsley in the Mets. He gave up 1 run to tie the game, and they lost in extras.
Hasn't been good.
He's not been good at all. And so the fact that we were able to trade them and get anything for them is a big win. But I think that being said is going to leave us with some questionable games here at the end, and that's what happened with JoJo on Wednesday.
Cardinals 61-61 as we go into the series against the Yankees, exactly at 500. But they are now 16 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers.
But the positive note of that is
yes,
they're only 3.5 out of the wild card.
Well, I understand that. And that's why this series is an important series.
And when we started, they were 4.5.
That's because the Mets have gone into a free fall.
That's great. We love it, right? And that's the thing is the Mets are really struggling. And as we've seen before, the Reds are a very streaky team as well. So then all of a sudden that puts
the Cardinals do have 6 games left against the Reds.
And next thing you know, that puts you in that last wild card spot. And maybe this team doesn't have the pitching to contend with what's there. They need to get better offensively and consistent. But if this team goes on a run and makes the postseason, I think everyone involved would call this a win.
Sure. I meant to say when we were talking about the newsletter, and I forgot to add this, the graphic was just up there on the screen. It's very easy to sign up for the newsletter. If you haven't done so yet, just go to the stlsportspage.com main homepage, and you'll see a tab up there that'll say newsletter. Just click on that, and we'll get your information. It comes directly into your email. So usually once a week. So a lot of interesting stories sometimes that aren't featuring other stories that we feature in the website, but sometimes we have other things on the newsletter that you don't get anywhere else on the site. So I encourage you to sign up for that if you haven't already done so.
As we continue to talk about the positives in this team, like we just said, the Mets are 1-9 in their last 10. Mm-hmm. So if they continue that trend, I'm not saying 500 ball is going to get us where we need to be, but we are playing the teams coming up here that are going to make a difference ahead of us.
Well, here's the main question I'd like to ask, and I'd like your opinion on this. Why are the Brewers so much better than the Cardinals? I mean, I know part of the gap here is because they've won 12 games in a row, which, like when the Cardinals won 17 in a row a few years ago, that's a streak that you just don't normally expect.
You don't.
But they're playing great baseball.
And the key is offensively, they're on fire. They've got guys that the guys that they're getting production from are the guys that we hope to get production from, right? The Nolan Gorman, the Jordan Walker, the Thomas Saggese, that level of caliber player is who they're getting it from. They've got a kid in Isaac Collins who's in his second year, and for this past month, he's hitting 360 for 30 games. That's great. Then their 9-hole hitter, Joey Ortiz. Nobody thought he would be anything. He's hitting 400 this month. So they're getting production from guys. If you sat back and said, all of a sudden for a month straight, Jordan Walker's going to hit 360 and Nolan Gorman's going to hit 400, this team would be on fire. So then you combine that with good pitching. They've got good quality starting pitching. They got Brandon Woodruff back. Freddie Peralta's been really good. Oh, and they have Jacob Mizorowski, who was an all-star in his first year. So, their young talent is major league ready, and it's taken off.
They actually have the second best starters ERA in baseball.
Now, maybe it's thanks to the pocket pancake. I don't know. Pat Murphy's got something up his sleeve there.
It's in his pocket.
Oh, that's true. He pulled up the pocket pancake, and next thing you know, they won 12 in a row. So I don't know. Maybe that's some.
And they're also getting great contributions from Caleb Durbin at third base, who they got in the trade from the Yankees to Wash U grade.
Maybe we need Michaelis out there with the Sage in the outfield again, or we need to try something different. I don't know. But yeah, the Brewers are getting production from guys that we wish we could. And the Brewers are a team we want to try to be.
Exactly. I think it's a very similar sized market. They're drawing fans. It's an exciting ballpark. I know that the weather sometimes doesn't make a difference because it's a dome. I mean, it's a retractable roof, which you wish you'd had in St. Louis this weekend when it's 100 degrees. But I think that, I think the Cardinals can learn a lot from watching the Brewers. But because here's the other thing I think I found interesting. You're going to know the answer to this. How many of the Milwaukee lineup, how many of those guys is in the top 10 in the National League in home runs?
There's not a ton of home run hitters in that, but probably 3 or 4.
One. Christian
Yelich.
The only one, 23 home runs. He's the only one in the top 10 of the National League home runs.
But how many have double-digit home runs?
No, I didn't look that up. But how many Milwaukee players are in the top 20 in the league in RBIs?
5.
1. Christian Yelich. How many are in the top 20 in the National League in the batting race?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say 1, since that seems to be the theme.
That is 1. Sal Frelick. So it's not like they're getting 9 guys smashing the ball, but they're getting contributions from everybody.
And the key is consistency, right? It's your 9-hole hitter coming through. It's the top to bottom. It's everybody. But to be fair, I think the one key to their whole success is William Contreras, because they have a catcher catching. We have a catcher at first base. We have a catcher at left field. We have one catcher behind the plate. When you end up with 3 of them, it doesn't work.
They haven't changed the rules that you play 3 catchers at a time?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to see Ivan Herrera get more at-bats, and I want to see him play, but watching him in left field is brutal.
Brewers are 76-44.
They're playing very well. And the thing is, too, about the Brewers, they don't pay a lot of big money market contracts.
That payroll's not too high.
No, I mean, they've got a few key.
And that's why I say I think the Cardinals can learn a lot from them. They've developed well. They've made some smart trades. They traded, some players. They let a few free agents go, Corbin Burns being one. Traded Josh Hader. I mean, they've made some aggressive moves. I think I think their front office has done a fabulous job. I think Pat Murphy is a wonderful manager.
The question is certainly in 1, Pat Murphy. What is he doing differently that Ollie's not? And 2, what is the pitching staff and the hitting staff doing differently to watch these approaches? Because our guys can't seem to figure it out. And that segues into my next player that I want to mention is Nolan Gorman. Mm-hmm. How many times can we give him an opportunity? And when do we realize he's just not going to get it going? He's hitting 220 on the year. 225 maybe to be exact. Sorry, I don't want to short him a little bit. But
he has been better since he came back off the injury.
Why can't he throw the ball from third base to first base?
True. Had a couple of questions.
But you put a guy like Alec Burleson out there, and he said, I'm going to take advantage of this situation. Mm-hmm. He played well enough that you had to keep him in the lineup. Gorman hasn't proven to me that he deserves to stay in the lineup when Arenado comes back. But that's the question mark, is Arenado's not jumping away either. So I think when you're comparing this team to the Brewers, Christian Yelich is the superstar on their team, and he's playing like a superstar.
Right.
Nolan Arenado is the guy on our team that's supposed to be, and no, he's getting out hit by Caleb Durbin.
I do want to mention before we, kind of segue too far onto this podcast that I spent the last week in Memphis, this week in Springfield, and encourage all Cardinal fans to go down and check out the talent there. We had a chance to write a couple of different stories, so there is some hope. I think that you kind of get discouraged a little bit sometimes when you watch the big league club. But I think there's some good, exciting young players at the AA and AAA levels, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see them in St. Louis, maybe in September, if not, hopefully next season. So hope everybody had a chance to, the Springfield story went down to find out about Tink Hens. But obviously he's had just a terribly frustrating year from an injury standpoint. He's pitched a total of 21 innings. You can read that story up on the website. We got a chance to sit down and chat for about 20 minutes about what's going on and what the current update on his situation is. He still is hopeful to be back at pitching before the end of the year. They've got about a month left in the regular season in Springfield before they get to the playoffs. As we mentioned, they're rolling just like the Brewers are. They're 72-39, won 8 in a row going into their start on Friday night. So they've got some good things happening in Springfield, even without Tink being part of that ball club. So the other thing, of course, in Memphis, we had a chance to spend some time with J.J. Weatherholt, the Cardinals' top prospect. Obviously, there's a debate about whether the Cardinals should bring him up in September or not. We'll wait and see what happens with that. But I think the question is just he will be here, whether it's sooner or whether it's later. But hopefully people get a chance to read that story also on the site, Day in the Life of J.J. Weatherholt. And, of course, our new book, All Roads Lead to St. Louis, is also out and available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble and wherever else you find books.
I think it'd be exciting to see J.J. up here, and I think a lot of people are ready for that. But I don't think it will happen this year because there's a couple reasons behind it, but number one is this is a year where they don't have to protect him yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's not eligible to be selected by anybody on a Rule 5 draft or anything like that. So there's no protection needed. So you don't have to create a spot on the 40-man for him yet. Now, granted, I think there's about 10 people on that 40-man that you can just dump because I don't know why they're major league players. But regardless, there's no reason to start him on that if you don't need to yet. So that is my reasoning when saying he probably won't be here. But will it help sell tickets? Certainly.
I also think the other part of it is and people are making the comparison to Mason Wynn when he came up in September of a couple of years ago. Two things that now obviously the rules have changed in September. You don't get to call up everybody on the 4-man roster like you used to. You're limited to 28-man roster. And the other thing is when Mason Wynn came up, there was a clear opening for him to play shortstop on an almost daily basis. If Weatherholt comes up, yes, he could play second. Yes, he could play short. Yes, he could play third. But I don't think there's a clear position playing time available to him.
The other thing too that's interesting to me is a few years ago we were in the boat where our minor league systems were winning all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis, Springfield, Peoria were all playing in championships. Palm Beach, they all were going through this. And so to me, there's some experience to letting guys stay and play through those playoff games to get that winning experience. So I'm not saying we should necessarily send JJ back to Memphis, or back to Springfield, but maybe it's worth a little bit there at the end just to let him get that playoff experience to know what it's like to win. And that creates some hunger in those guys. And I think for a while that you saw that attitude coming up, and some of these guys that are up here now missed that.
One of the interesting stories that we're going to be writing about in Springfield that coming up on the website probably Monday or Tuesday is about a left-handed relief pitcher named Michael Watson. That may be a name that's totally unfamiliar to most Cardinal fans, but you look at his stats and you read his story, and you will, I think, start paying attention to him. They also got a young starting pitcher down there named Eshawn Henderson, who was a 8th-round pick, I think 7th or 8th-round pick. State a couple of years ago, left-handed pitcher. He had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning the night that we were there. I think he's going to be a name to watch here in the next couple of years as well.
The pitching is starting to turn, right? It's going to take a minute. There's a few guys here that are pretty close to getting up, and then there's a few guys in that next wave. So I'd be very curious to see how Heim decides to move some of these guys through to challenge them or see if they're ready as we go within the system.
Crooks and Bernal, Jimmy Crooks, the catcher at Memphis, Leo Bernal, the catcher at Springfield. Both of those guys do have to go on the 40-man roster this winter. They also got another 18-year-old catcher at Palm Beach named Reniel Rodriguez, who's developed into a really top prospect. So if you're trying to look at a spot where maybe you could afford to trade somebody from a position player depth, it might be the catching position.
Well, and to me, that's the biggest question mark for Heim this offseason is who's your everyday catcher next year? Is it Pozo? Is it Pages? Do you try to go back to Herrera? And I think that's a very big question mark because you've got, like you just said, Bernal and Crooks that are probably right around the corner that are pretty close to ready. But you've got some serious issues in trying to manage the run game with these current catchers right now. And we're seeing a lot of guys on the base pass because of our pitching. So then when you got a catcher that can't throw them out, it's kind of a lose-lose situation. So I think the catching spot is one that I'm very interested to watch this offseason to see kind of how it progresses, because maybe Herrera or Pages or Pozo become a package deal to find you another pitcher.
I do want to encourage everybody to also go to the STL Sports Page Facebook page. We've been asking some daily questions on there, trying to get some interaction going with our listeners, viewers there about different things in Cardinals history, getting your opinion and comment on different things. So encourage you to check out the STL Sports Page Facebook page if you're not already on there, and respond to our questions and get some interaction and engagement going with our audience there. So appreciate everybody who has been getting a lot of good comments about some of those questions. So appreciate everybody who has done that as well. So after the Yankee series, Cardinals hit the road. They go to Florida for a week, 3 games in Miami, 3 games in Tampa Bay. On paper, you say, okay, both those teams are under 500. Again, those are games that the Cardinals should probably have an edge in some of those matchups, but I don't know how you predict what this team's going to do.
And here's the crazy thing too, right? There are times where we're kind of negative here because the team has been struggling. The team's 500, but the positive is the Mets are doing really bad, and you're only trying to catch them and the Reds. That's it. At this point in time, nothing else matters. We talk about the Brewers a lot because, yes, we want to be like the Brewers. They're playing very well.
We're not catching the Brewers.
We're not catching the Brewers. I did hear the other day, though, that the Rockies' magic number is 7 to be eliminated. So that is
Don't have that going for us.
awfully very early to be eliminated. So we also don't have that. So there are positives, right? And the key is we're really only focused on 2 teams for the rest of the season, the Reds and the Mets. That's it. Because currently, right now, the Mets are in the last wild card slot. So that's all we have to do. And we're only 3.5 behind them right now. Now, the question at hand is, which team is going to show up the rest of these games to get it done? The team that won 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, or the team that lost 2 to the Rockies?
Well, we'll see starting this weekend, the Cardinals and the Yankees at Busch Stadium. So thanks to everybody. Again, you can get this podcast anywhere that you get all of your podcast downloads, Spotify, or all the other available options on YouTube as well. Thanks to everybody who signed up for actually the YouTube channel. So, and again, sign up. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter as well. Mike, thanks for the visit.
We could use a Taylor Swift appearance to shoot us up, kind of like the Kelsey brothers.
Another million
so maybe that would
followers or something. Yeah, so we probably aren't going to get that. Thanks everybody for listening. Enjoy the weekend. Stay cool. We'll see everybody again soon here on the STLSportsPage.com. Reigns on the Cardinals podcast. Rob Reigns and Mike Reigns. Have a great day.